Hi, I'm Dr. Rita Walker. I am a professor of psychology. I'm a licensed psychologist, and I'm also the author of the Unapologetic Guide to Black Mental Health that will be out on May 1st. And I am broadly interested in the health and well-being, and that includes physical health, psychological well-being of African Americans. And like many of you, I've seen and heard the statistics related to the overrepresentation of African Americans among persons who've been affected by COVID-19, who've died from coronavirus related problems and complications. And I wish I could say I was surprised. I wish that I could say that. But we've known for decades that African Americans suffer disproportionately from chronic illness that includes diabetes, poor blood sugar, high blood pressure, also known as hypertension, cardiac related problems. We've known that these underlying issues existed, and they predated coronavirus. And the reality of those complications is that they're not solely on the individual or the responsibility of individuals who are seemingly making poor decisions. There are issues at play in our system whereby African Americans get poorer treatment. And there are some who would argue, well, those who don't have access or don't have health insurance, but there are some data that would suggest that even African Americans who have health insurance and who have means are disproportionately or ill affected by systems that don't treat everyone the same. And unfortunately, when we try to separate out, well, if individuals make better decisions from the systems can be racist, then I think we get stuck. And I'll give this example that I found disheartening. It's happened actually a couple of different times whereby individuals are making the appropriate decision, say to wear a mask, and have been mistreated by police and told to leave an establishment because they were wearing a mask. And even an individual who's trying to help in a community who was targeted by police. And so we can't separate out individual behavior and decisions from systems. We could say to an individual, well, you have to eat better and you just have to do better. But the reality for people, as an example, who are diagnosed with type 2 diabetes is that there's a lot of depression among people who have diabetes. And so we can't necessarily expect for them to be able to function as someone who is not depressed. Depression's undiagnosed, but it still plays a factor. And so what I think that would be important for us to do is to recognize that, yeah, it might not be the individual, but instead is the individual doing the best that they can in a system that oftentimes mistreats people of color and particularly African Americans. And those of us who have resources, who have the creativity and the ingenuity, it's time to start to think bigger so that we can turn this ship around. When COVID-19 goes away, and it will at some point, not anytime soon, but it will go away at some point, we need to have systems in place that protect individuals who have for generations been mistreated in this society. Because when COVID-19 goes away, we're going to need to be prepared to do some things differently. It's not going to happen overnight, but we've got to start to get the ball rolling so that we can start to change the well-being and reality of people who have chronically been marginalized in our society. Thank you.